You're listening to the Yin and Yang Show, a marketing and sales conversation providing strategic and tactical advice about inbound sales and marketing. And now, here are your hosts, Lindsay Kelly and Brian Signorelli.
Welcome to the Yin and Yang Show. Thanks for joining us again this week for another riveting conversation about sales and marketing in the world of inbound. I'm Lindsay Kelly, the marketing arm of the podcast from Prospect Builder, joined as always by my buddy Brian Sig.
Hey, good morning, Lindsay. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We just had a frustrating moment, didn't we?
Very. Yeah, Facebook Live is not where it needs to be yet.
No. So apparently all we had to do was one of us go live, and then the other one touch the other person who joined the actual broadcast, and it should have popped up and said invite to join the broadcast, because two-person Facebook Live is a thing now, and it just wouldn't let me do it. It only would let me pin the post, block him, or delete his comment. And I didn't want to do any of those things.
I was attempting to go live through my desktop and through my phone simultaneously while you were doing that. And I couldn't figure it out. And on top of that, the only video that I found wouldn't load.
Oh,
so
nice.
Where does that, you and I were probably watching the same video. We figured, hey, Google's got the answer to this. Turns out they don't really have it. Right. Because maybe there's no intuitive way to do it. Or maybe that's the sign that we are, dare I say, officially like old fogies or something like that.
It may be that we're just old fogies. So we'll try again next week. I'm going to do some more research and test some stuff out. But it was hilarious. People kept joining and then leaving because I'm like, anybody know how to do this? Because it's not happening the way that it's supposed to. So we'll try again.
Some other exciting news.
Yeah.
Did I hear or see this week that the She Shed has been delivered?
The She Shed has arrived.
Wow, 10 episodes later?
Yeah, I know, right?
This is amazing. I mean, granted, it's not that long. It's only, say, 8 weeks, 9 weeks or so. We've been, 10 weeks, 2 months.
Yeah, we're on episode 11. So
are you excited?
I am very excited, and I failed inspection yesterday, which was not exciting.
No.
Right. Okay. So the only reason I failed was because it said that I was supposed to have the approved survey plans also sitting there with the permit, because it's not like they knock on your door. They just show up and they inspect the building and then they leave. And so, I did not know that. And so now I have that ready to go for Monday, because they don't do inspections on Fridays.
Who comes to do the inspections?
The city of Wellington, where I live.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Wellington a horse town?
It is.
Why do I feel like it's a horse town?
It's a horse town. It's the winter equestrian capital of the
I was
world.
going to say, sorry, not a horse town, an equestrian town.
It's an equestrian town. Yes. So there's every weekend during quote unquote season, which is October through late April. They have the Winter Equestrian Festival, and there's jumping and polo. Prince Harry was here last year playing polo. No, I didn't see him, and my invitation got lost in the mail, so I didn't get to go. But it was it's really cool because, you go into a certain part of town, and it's over by where Eleanor's soccer fields are. My daughter plays soccer. And so every time we're over there, one day we were like, what is with the traffic? Well, there were horses crossing the road. So we got stuck at the light, but it was okay. We got to see beautiful horses and people in their horse gear, and it's pretty cool. So
I love that. Such a quaint way of life, it feels like.
Yeah, it is.
As opposed to the 18-wheelers that are cruising by my place here, in South Boston. Long live Southie.
Boston's a beautiful city, though. I look forward to going there every year, especially once y'all give me my HubSpot Gold Partner ticket for free. Waiting for that because I need to book my hotel because the cheap ones are already booked.
Weird one. We had it on Election Day last year, right?
Yes.
Crazy. The first day was on Election Day.
Yes. I did my early voting. Did you?
Yeah, I did. I did actually. And which was good because there was no way I was going to do it. I did 9 hours of speaking on that first day. But what's kind of crazy about that, is when we do the event in November, that only gives us a 9-month turnaround. Because I think that they scheduled the next one for September or something?
End of September. Yep.
Ugh, yeah, scary thought. I'm glad I'm not part of that team. But God bless everyone who is.
Yeah, well, and talking really quickly, some of the folks listening, if you're HubSpot users or you're thinking about using HubSpot and you're not really sure what it's all about, Inbound 2017 is coming up in September, and tickets sell out fast. Hotels sell out fast. Last year, my VP of Business Development and I went, and we had 3 clients and a big leasing partner with us, and it was a blast. Honestly, I'm at the point now where I'm realizing the sessions really aren't as much for me, but a lot of the connections and the networking and like scheduling one-on-ones is what I need to be doing. Whereas all of our folks that went were getting a lot out of the sessions because they're like, I understand now why you do this way, and the CTA that leads to this, and the CTA is a call to action that leads to this, and then this is why we do this. This was so cool to see. And so everybody gets really jazzed, and everybody's favorite session was, of course, how to get, your sales team on board, the Marcus Sheridan one. And,
was that your favorite session?
That was every single client that went to that was like, that was amazing.
But yours, was that your favorite session? I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I love the sales line. I love George B. I love Marcus Sheridan, but just wanted to know what your favorite session was, or maybe favorite part of the whole event. It doesn't have to be a session.
Favorite part. Oh my gosh, there were so many great parts. And I will say, like, this year wasn't as exciting for me as like the first 3. This was my 4th inbound. And I will say the very first one in 2013 was my absolute favorite. Granted, there were only I think there were like 3,000 of us or something. So it was a smaller crowd. And I saw a lot more HubSpotters, and, I saved an Excel from going in the ladies' room. And I mean, it was great. It was fun. He was in a hurry. What?
He's working for Impact Branding and Design now.
I hit him up when I saw that. I was like, Bob, Dog Ruffalo, totally snagged you.
He did. That's sneaky Bob.
So yeah, but no, we're like, just so you guys know, like we spend a lot of time talking about the partners because it's a really wonderful community. So if I needed help with something in my agency with growing, with building, I would call Bob Ruffalo and I'd be like, hey, how do you guys structure this? And I do that with Mike at Square 2 Marketing. And there are always really great agencies out there, and they all have, some of them focus on everything. Some of them focus like we do, like we're just the office technology folks. Other folks are just manufacturing or just legal or all these different verticals, but it's a wonderful community. I do love it. That was quite a tangent we just went on, but it's nice to to talk about it. So if you guys are getting interested in HubSpot, it's a good idea to send your salesperson and your marketing person to inbound, which is what we recommend, and we'll have clients coming back with us this year. So come join us, and this year you too can enjoy John Paulet and Lindsay Kelly doing karaoke at midnight. Somewhere in Boston, in this tiny little hole in the wall. It was wonderful. Our clients had an absolute blast.
Yeah, Hong Kong's pretty good for that usually.
Yeah, that's where we went.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk a little bit. You're going to get to talk more today because it's something I want to learn. And you're obviously way more well-versed in this than I, and so this is a learning process for me. So talk to us a little bit about what you and I had talked about, which was kind of the sales CRM side of HubSpot and using sequences and all of this, because as you talk about it, I'm going to interject with the challenges that our industry faces with HubSpot integration and CRM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so a couple of years ago, HubSpot went about built. Well, it was actually longer than that, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, that they went about building a sales product and a CRM. And about 2 years ago, we brought that CRM and those sales products out to our customer base. And the whole notion behind why HubSpot decided to build a CRM, aside from the fact that it's a logical extension of a platform like HubSpot's marketing automation platform that gathers all this lead intelligence and information about things like your email marketing, and all of the activities that your leads are doing on your website, how they're interacting with you, so on and so forth. Obviously, or maybe not so obviously, you'd want to get that information in the hands, in the hands of a salesperson, to ideally help them, or in the hope that they're going to have more meaningful conversations with their prospects. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because my video is going really, really slow right now, and I'm like seeing things that like they're not happening as they should be.
Oh, that's funny.
So anyway,
my side is great, so keep going.
Wonderful, good. I'm glad it's good. I'm just gonna open a new window so I don't get distracted by myself. Okay, great. So anyway, the whole idea with behind why we felt like it was so important to build out a CRM and the sales tools is that we personally felt as a company, that the way that CRMs were built was broken. If you look at legacy CRMs, and I won't name any in particular, but you can kind of take a guess at pick any CRM. First and foremost, they're not designed for sales reps. They're designed for sales managers and directors and VPs. They're super, super heavy on reporting and customization and all those things that I can speak, having been a sales manager, that I would care about a lot, but my reps, quite frankly, couldn't care about at all. So that's the first thing. The second is CRMs don't actually live where sales reps do their work. Sales reps really do their work out of an email inbox all day. Right? That's where a lot of the conversation is happening, or they're doing it over the phone, at least in inside sales. If you're outside sales, maybe a little bit different. You're obviously going to be doing in-person meetings, going to meet with clients on site. But even if you're doing that, you're still, again, using a phone, and you're using email as probably the heaviest tools in your kind of selling toolkit, so to speak. And then the third thing that was problematic with CRMs is that they are kind of a one-way, most legacy CRMs are a one-way street. So what I mean by that is, for you to get any value out of a CRM, you have to put data into it. CRM doesn't surface anything interesting for you out of the box, requires the sales rep to input information to get information out of it. Obviously, the managers and the directors and VPs, I mean, if anybody out there listening to this who's ever worked in sales, I'm sure you'll find it funny when I say something like, "Oh yeah, like it's at a minimum, it's hard to get people to log activities in CRM." I'd go as far to say is that it's borderline impossible. So those were the three big things that we felt like were kind of broken with CRMs. That they weren't designed for the sales rep; they were designed for managers and VPs. The second is that they were interruptive, or required a rep to go outside to a different system from the primary systems they're using, mostly phone and email, every day. And the third, of course, is that it's a one-way street, and the HubSpot CRM we want to create as a two-way street, where it actually adds value before it extracts value from the rep. And so anyway, that's a high level on why the CRM and the sales tools were built, at least initially. And I think that story's evolved a little bit over time.
And just to kind of give you guys some echo. Do you hear me? Echoey?
No echo on my side.
Why am I echoing? Okay, I stopped. So just to give you guys a little context as to what you can expect to see to help out your sales reps, when you go into, let's say, we use Gmail. If I get an email from Brian Signorelli and he's not inside my CRM and we're corresponding back and forth, there is a connector that I have set up between my HubSpot portal and my Gmail, where I can literally look at the sidebar and it shows me Brian Signorelli. It shows me his social profiles out there, because it kind of goes through the web and finds everything associated with Brian. And then I can literally click add to CRM. And it's basically scraping all the information it can find from online and throwing it right into the CRM. You have to click one button, no data entry. And it tracks all your emails back and forth. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's amazing what this does. It really is. It's amazing. And I know you guys use the CRM on your side to a certain extent, but you also use Salesforce.com, right?
That's right. Yep.
How do they work together?
Yeah, so
I'm a fan of Salesforce, by the way.
Yeah, all right. Well, that makes at least one person.
I know, right?
No, I mean, in fairness, I've been using Salesforce for a decade now, and I did actually. This might sound funny to people out there listening that maybe were in the business world before CRM even existed at all. But my first experience with any sort of CRM was a desktop CRM, and I'm fairly certain it was Siebel. And I hated it. That's all I have to say about it. I hated it. It was slow. It was clunky. It didn't make sense. I don't even know what a CRM was. I was a research analyst. I don't even know what I was doing in the CRM, to tell you the truth. Anyway, what I like about the HubSpot sales tools is that, if you Google or search for any sales acceleration technology, sales enablement technology, pipeline management, anything, I'd be willing to bet that every single thing you find is going to be a tool that layers on top of Salesforce. Like literally all these tools are built around Salesforce. And they usually have connectors for like a Dynamics or something else, right? But, by and large, Salesforce is still the de facto CRM leader in CRM for certainly mid and I'd say certainly in the enterprise space, large cap companies. I'd argue that they're a really heavy competitor in the mid-market space. And I know they have a bunch of small business customers too, even though small businesses, just my opinion, they should not be using Salesforce. There's no reason for it at all. It's way more horsepower than you're going to be able to handle or that you need. Anyway, so the thing is, the way HubSpot and Salesforce work together, we're friends, not enemies, we're friends. So the idea is that, to use the HubSpot sales tools, you can be using Salesforce. You don't have to be using Salesforce. So the sales tools operate independent. Like the mechanism that makes the sales tools work really come down to one, your email client, because the HubSpot sales tools integrate with Gmail and they integrate with Outlook. So in terms of like your desktop or cloud email client that you're using, like the day-to-day email service you're using. So that's the first. And then if you're using Salesforce, there's just a connector basically that integrates the tools together. So as you send emails, as you update contact records, all that data gets bidirectionally synced, or it's piped over into Salesforce. So if I send an email out of my Gmail, which is the email service that I use for work, I just click a little button, it says login CRM. I can log that to the HubSpot CRM, but then I can also just drop in what's called a blind carbon copy, a BCC email address, and that will automatically log that activity against the appropriate contact record inside of Salesforce as well, which in my case, I need to do both because we use the two systems. We use both the HubSpot CRM internally for certain things, and we use Salesforce for other things. I won't make any forward-looking statements about that.
Well, and I want to pause here for a second to say, one of the reasons that I like Salesforce is because, like, we, for instance, we talk a lot with the Sailor Group in our industry, in our world, and they are just like us, office technology folks only, and they do Salesforce integrations because in our industry, there are a lot of different, I call them Franken systems. It's like, you have to connect with your eAutomate system, you have to connect with ConnectWise, there are all these different connectors. And so the Sailor Group is able to help extract and pull this information, get everything organized, and now they're working on HubSpot integrations too. And there have been challenges. However, we're getting closer and closer to the worlds all colliding together and working in harmony. So that's why I think that Salesforce for us has the most flexibility for dealers out there who are trying to connect their CRM to HubSpot.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, Salesforce is an amazing company. Absolutely amazing. I mean, they were pioneers. I mean, Mark Benioff, I don't need to tell you, is a visionary. I mean, he was at Oracle and then realized everything's moving to the cloud and that there's like something faster happening here. It's bigger. I was actually having breakfast with a guy this morning who used to work at SAP, I think in like maybe the mid 90s or late 90s or something like that. And they were talking about, what Salesforce was doing. And back at the time, like SAP was looked at as something like, the 35th most popular CRM or something like that, right? And Salesforce was emerging as this kind of, new company that's like changing the way CRM works, that everything's going to the cloud and that on-premise is dying and all that stuff, right? If you're under the age of 30, this is probably all nonsense to you.
They're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So they're like,
there was a time without a cloud?
Yeah, what happened before the internet, right? A lot of things happened, but still, anyway, I digress. The idea is that Salesforce, yes, I mean, it's an amazing company. I mean, a lot of the concepts, things that they've done and things that they've enabled salespeople to do, and not just salespeople. I mean, marketers, support teams, engineers, the amount of customization and flexibility and openness of integration into that system, it is truly amazing. And I still absolutely would recommend that anybody who's in the enterprise space, or who's a large company, I'd say if you have 200 employees or more, until something better becomes available, I would absolutely say that Salesforce is still hands down the best option out there, despite the fact that it can get extremely expensive.
And customization is needed.
And customization is needed, and you're going to spend probably millions of dollars on setup and implementation and customization.
Not millions for our folks. We're talking about 20, 40, $100 million dealerships here.
You have thousands of sales reps, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah, no, we don't have thousands. We have. In some cases, we have like hundreds.
I'm talking super large enterprise. Yeah. But yes, I mean, the idea is that it is still a super powerful platform. I do respect what the business does. I just personally think there's a better way to do it.
That's cool. I totally get that. I jive with that. So one of our challenges, and I think I've explained this before, is that most of the folks in our industry are working on industry-specific CRMs. And a couple of the ones that I think I brought up before are Soaring, which when I worked at the dealership that I worked at, that's what they were on. They may still be on it. And it's really not easy to connect something like Soaring into any other platform that's outside the industry. But then there's another one called Sherpa. And the majority of our industry is on Sherpa. And so, we're working with Compass, the company that created Sherpa, to get an integration with HubSpot. And what that does from a sales perspective, just kind of painting the picture of what we talk about with our folks is, look, so inside of Compass, you want your people to be able to go, have a tab, open it up, see all of the activity of the prospect that you're trying to sell to so that you have a better picture of what they're looking at on the website. What blog posts are they reading? What pages are they going to? Are they going to your catalog? Are they looking at document management? Oh, but wait, they were trying to buy a copy, or now they're all over document management or MPS. Oh, great, that's good information to know. I bring in another specialist. So what are, in your opinion, I might be throwing you a curveball here, what, in your opinion, would be the top 5 things that you could take from HubSpot and push into a system like that?
Oh man.
Aside from like name and email and company, come on, that's just a no-brainer.
So what are the things I could take out of HubSpot and push into the industry-specific CRM?
Yes.
I'm thinking. I want to give a good answer. I just don't want to throw up all over the headset here.
And you can throw up all over it because I'm going to narrow it down anyway. I've already sent my wish list over to my guy at Compass, Troy. I'm like, this is what I want. I don't know if I'm going to get it. But.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. So what I think is this. For me, the most valuable part of HubSpot, and I'm biased, having been a sales rep and a sales manager and having worked at HubSpot, obviously.
Right. You're not biased at all.
People tell me I live in an echo chamber, but I'm going with it. Anyway, the most valuable part of the system is the contact record inside of HubSpot. And the reason I say it's the contact record is not the fact that I can see someone's first name, last name, email, company. It's because HubSpot gathers every single piece of behavioral information about how that person has interacted with your website, right? So it's not just the static information, it's that behavioral information as well. So let me give you an example. If I went to a contact record inside of HubSpot's platform, I would be able to see, for example, if I looked at your contact record, Lindsay, and don't worry, I don't have it pulled up now. I'm not going to go through it.
Because it would be really long and old and multiple companies ago.
Starting
back with the CDA dealer I worked at in Baltimore. Yeah.
Right. That's a way I used to sell. Because I'd be on the phone with someone and I'd say, look, let me show you your contact record. Let me show you what I know about you. Right? What if, and I said, I'm not showing you this to creep you out. I'm showing you this to ask you whether or not this is something you could use for yourself, right? And if you were to have this type of information, what would that do from a marketing perspective and a sales perspective in your business? So back to the example. If I went to Lindsay's contact record, again, I don't have it pulled up. If I went to Lindsay's contact record, I would be able to see things like the last email that she opened and clicked through from an email marketing campaign. I would be able to see the last time she came to HubSpot's website or any business's website that's integrated with HubSpot. I could see which page she was on. I could see how many times she viewed that page. I could also see which pieces of content she was interested in, right? So if she's reading certain blog posts or she's filling out forms on the website, like a request a quote or register for a webinar or talk to sales, right? all these different things. These are all the behaviors that, I would say, and I don't mean this in a creepy way, even though it's going to sound creepy. It gives you the ability to understand and see what your prospects are doing when they think that you're not watching. Right? So really what that means is it's that 60% of that buying process that happens without a sales rep involved.
Right. It's gonna be 80 in a couple of years.
It is. And I got into an argument with Doug Davidoff about this last night.
Oh, really? Doug.
Yeah, there's we made up pretty quickly.
Oh,
we didn't want to blow up LinkedIn too quickly on this, but
and by the way, that was probably my favorite session, Doug's session at Inbound. But go ahead.
Nice. So the idea is I'd say, hey, that 60% that prospects do without salespeople, or that what is soon to be 80% they're going to do without salespeople. Well, the HubSpot lead intelligence on that contact record gives the salesperson visibility into what is happening during that 60 to 80%. Gives you a clear line of sight into how your prospects are consuming information, how they're educating themselves, and gives you the ability to anticipate what that next question might be, or where they might be in the kind of buying decision-making process, or what is also commonly referred to as the buyer's journey. So my super long answer to your question is that if I were to pull pieces of information, like 5 things from HubSpot into the CRM, it would really be anything I can get off of that contact record that's tied back to behavioral lead information, because, in theory, the sales rep is the one that's going to be reviewing that data. And if it's not a sales rep, it's not just for sales reps either. I mean, if you're in customer service or support or an account manager, you're very likely going to be in that CRM as well. And you're going to be thinking, okay, well, we have a customer coming up for renewal, or we have a support ticket out, so on and so forth. What are all the things that this individual is doing relative to us? And yeah, I want to know about the phone calls. And yeah, I want to know about the meetings. And yeah, I want to know about the one-off emails. But I also want to know what else they're looking for help with when we're not looking, so to speak. All right. So really anything, pick any 5 off of the lead intelligence record, any 5 types of information off of that. And those are the things that I would want to pipe right into that CRM.
So here's my 5. Just listening to you.
Tell me.
Just listening to you. And I may change my mind. I reserve that right. I've got, let me get my little partner book up.
Oh, I love that.
You love, I put a sticker on it.
I don't have a sticker like that.
Rachel sent them to me.
Oh,
she's my channel account manager.
Yeah, Rachel's
she's
mad
awesome.
at me right now. Yeah, I digress. Go on. Sorry. What are the 5? I want to know.
My 5. Pages viewed. Okay, so pages viewed, forms completed, emails opened, emails sent, and original source.
Oh, yeah, original source. That's interesting.
And by original source, folks, what we mean is, where did they first come from? If they have clicked on if they filled out any form, whether that's a one-liner that just says, give me your email and then get started. Whenever they click that, HubSpot's able to marry that IP address and that email together. And then it backfills all the data. So it can see where it originally came from. So if a sales rep sent an email and they clicked on a link inside of that email, it will give that attribution to an email. If they went to Google and they did a search, it'll say, came from organic search. So it gives you an insight into where people are coming from. So if these guys, by the way, have like massive databases, the cross-selling opportunities are just off the wall. So if we're sending out a campaign about document management, we're sending it to folks who are existing copier customers, and we have that campaign set up, we can say, okay, look, these people clicked on links from this, kickoff email that we sent out, went through this whole workflow and ended up, in the laps of sales. Awesome. So we can see all of that. So that's why email source or original source is important to me.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, just understanding anybody who's worked in sales, or if you've run a business, I'm sure you've heard people ask questions like this all the time. Oh, how'd you hear about us? All right. It's classic, right? It's been going on forever. Everyone's like, oh, how'd you hear about us? Or if you ever, I'm trying to think, there was some place that I remember always having to fill out online. Like maybe it was when I signed up for Comcast or something. I think it's Comcast. Or any any utility company always asks these questions, like, in a little paper form or in an online form when you're signing up now, like, how'd you hear about us? And it's like, I remember the time before they would ask, like, basically the time before the internet was an option.
Right.
So they like I heard from a friend, I heard from a direct mail campaign, I heard from a billboard or whatever. And I'm not saying that those things don't work.
Right.
They do. I'm just saying that
here's the funny thing.
Stuff changes,
Here's a funny thing for me that people in sales in my industry and marketing people relate to right now. I had to fight tooth and nail when I first came into the dealership I worked for in 2009 to remove one of the sources so that website could be one of the, how did you hear about us? Like, they're like, we can't get rid of any of this. But we only have so many places to put things. We only have, the phone book, we have call, we have ad, we have TV ad or print ad, TV ad. And I'm like, I need website in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I think it's evolved. So at first it was
right. Because
World Wide Web, and then it's the internet, and then it's like weblog, and then it's blog, and then it's Google. Like Google's, in my opinion, that's
the 800-pound gorilla that.
Well, it is. It's Google. Google is to the internet as Kleenex is to tissue.
Right.
That's what it is. It's just
That's a good way to put it. But before we run completely out of time, talk to me a little bit about sequences.
Yeah. So I think.
And how that works inside of the sales side of the CRM, which, by the way, is separate from the marketing side. So if you have HubSpot marketing, and even if you've turned the sales side on, you have to have a license. You have to purchase a license for this particular thing to work. Am I correct in that?
You are. Yeah, you're right. Sequences, yes. So you do need to have a paid version of the sales products that HubSpot sells. It's $50 a user a month. And that is to get the sequences feature, that is a requirement. But in terms of what sequences does, I'll kind of take a half step back and then I'll jump right into it.
Okay.
As a sales rep, think about all the repetitive tasks you do every single day. Think about the emails you send, the back and forth you do with prospects, logging stuff into a CRM. There's so much manual work that happens every single day, and it's repetitive and it slows you down, right? It's just a pain. It's just a pain, right? So the idea with what are called the sales productivity tools, or what you might call sales enablement tools or sales acceleration tools, I don't care. Call them whatever you want. They're called sales productivity tools inside the HubSpot sales software. They're designed to eliminate a lot of that manual repetitive work that sales reps just historically have had to do, but no longer should be doing, in my opinion, right? So, for example, things like the functionality like an open notification and link click notification in your email. That's super simple. It's just helping you figure out when you should be following up with your prospects next, or when an ideal time might be. So instead of interrupting them, you ideally are integrating into when they might be more receptive to you speaking with them. Okay. The next, templates. Think about how many times you send either the same email or a very similar email over and over and over again. Okay, well, what if you could just save that template inside of your email client and then just automatically grab that template out whenever you need to send it to someone else? Now, I'm not saying send the exact same template to everybody every single time, but 80% of that content is probably going to be the same. Of course, spend the time to customize that last 20%. The templates tool in HubSpot allows you to do that and not waste your time rewriting that 80% over and over and over again. Save that, customize the last 20%.
And right now you're all going, yeah, I can do that in Outlook. But wait, there's more.
Right. So then now the next step is, great, you've sent one email, right, to a prospect, but the recommended approach, certainly if you're working with Lindsay and her team, they're going to tell you, look, if you're prospecting, you need to reach out to people 5, 10 plus times before you're going to get engaged with people. Well, guess what that means? It means that you've got to basically write the same email to people 5 times each, over and over and over again. So I can tell you, before I ever had access to a tool like Sequences, this is what I would have to do as a sales rep. I would literally go into each contact record. I would click an email, and there's, for example, inside of Salesforce, there are email templates. You can save and you can send those out, right? So that's not necessarily groundbreaking. Big difference with HubSpot. CRM lives right inside of your email client as opposed to having to go to the CRM. So even if you want to argue with me on that, that's fine. Keep using Salesforce, whatever CRM, to send your email templates out of. However, for me to follow up with that prospect, all right, I would set my cadence so that basically every third or fourth business day, I would drip on them over and over again. And what I mean by drip is I would follow up. I'd call them again. I'd email them again, so on and so forth. But to do that, I would have to log a little activity saying next follow-up date, and then I'd have to go back into my lead view. I'd have to find all the contacts that had that activity date as the next follow-up date, and then I have to open up my lead list again. I have to open up each individual contact record. I'd have to click through the email that I want to send, and I'd say, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, and I would literally spend my entire day doing nothing other than sending the second round of emails to people.
Right.
And what a ridiculous waste of time that is.
Total waste of time.
You don't have to do that anymore. Okay, so that's an example of required or necessary, really heavy lifting work that historically any sales rep had to do. Now you don't have to do that because within sequences, you can set all of that up ahead of time. So you can say, okay, these are the 5 emails I want to send to my prospects over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however many weeks you want, okay? You can choose the exact date and time you want those emails sent. You can customize every single one of those emails prospect by prospect if you so choose. In addition to that, you might say, oh, well, I've got a list of 100 people I want to prospect, and if I turn this thing on, can I turn it off? And the answer is you don't even have to worry about turning it off because the software is intelligent enough to know when somebody has responded to you. Okay, so say, for example, you're running these sequences, right? So, and then you write back to the third one, right? And I say, hey, Lindsay, I followed up a couple times, haven't heard back from you. You're going to assume it's not the right time. If things change, let me know. And you write back to me and say, oh, no. Like, now is a good time. Like, let's talk. This happens all the time. Okay. The software will automatically recognize that you have responded to that step in the sequence and will automatically unenroll somebody from the next step. So you don't look like an idiot and have step 4, step 5, step 6 going where it's basically still prospecting Lindsay, even though Lindsay's already engaged with me. And then, of course, you get nice reports to understand how well your sequence is doing, who's been enrolled, which step they came out at, to understand which points are the most effective in the system. I'm getting into way too much detail here, but that's the whole idea. And I just needed to set up a little bit of a framework for how we get to sequences and why they matter before just kind of jumping right into them.
Yeah, and that's great. And for all the folks out there who are like, oh, wait, that sounds like workflows on the marketing side. Yes, it does. It's just like that, except it's for the sales reps because you don't want the sales reps in there building workflows for you.
Right.
It's a totally different concept, but it's really easy. It's even drag and drop. So you can say, okay, I have, here are my templates, drag this one down here, drag this one down here. And I'm actually going to be training a rep how to do that inside of the next 2 weeks. So I'm excited about that.
Yep. Yeah, so that's the kind of core idea, and then there's a bunch of other things the sequences can do. I won't get into it today, but simple stuff like setting a follow-up task or a reminder. I mean, there's other stuff like that, but if you're just kind of dabbling in this stuff right now, I'd recommend using the HubSpot free version, which still gives you access to things like the opens and the clicks, and gives you access up to like 5 templates, so you kind of play around with it and use it. And then, if you see value in that, or if you're working with Lindsay and her team and they kind of show you how to take it to the next level, if you see the value in that, then yeah, there's a paid product that has way more functionality in it. It's
exciting.
Help, along the way.
That's good stuff. So, and I think we're just about out of time. So
all right.
we should wrap this up. But thanks for walking through that with us. That was really exciting. And thank you for having Hat Day with me, Brian. We're both wearing hats today.
Hat Day any day. Every day can be Hat Day if you want.
Every day can be Hat Day. I'll wear a funny hat next week. All right, folks. Well, you can always find me at lvkelly@prospectbuilder.net or at lvkelly on the Twitter sphere. You can find Brian Sig at Inbound Seller on the Twitters, and your email is
bsignorelli@hubspot.com.
Fabulous. And guys, go over to iTunes if you're enjoying this and give us a rating if you love us or even if you don't like us. And you can always, tweet us or email us with any ideas or any questions you have. We would love to hear what you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, folks, until next time, keep the conversation going.
Yeah, keep talking.
You've been listening to the Yin and Yang Show, a marketing and sales conversation with Lindsay Kelly and Brian Signorelli. Join us online at yinandyang.fm. That's www.yinandyang.fm.